Hello addictors and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a different type of video. This video is basically being made because of a question I got asked by a friend. Is retro gaming dead? Dave, why are you playing retro crap on old junky machines when you've got a PS4 and Xbox Series X and PS5 and all the new consoles? Now, when people think of retro gaming, they think of these images that you're seeing up above. Broken old PCs, broken old computers, knackered old consoles, stuff that's been left in a sewage pit for 10 years or something. And I can see where people come from, but that isn't what it's all about. So after my friend asked us this question, I thought, well, I'm going to make a video on this. Where is retro dead? Has it got a future? Where's it going? The answer is, it's not dead. It's got an unbelievable future. Everything isn't junk. Some of these old machines and computers are literally, like the ZX81, just turned 40 years old. They have got a lifespan. They need to be preserved and looked after. But that doesn't mean they can't be used. You know, like old technology, it still works. You don't just throw it away because it's no good anymore. Some of the games from back in the day are better than half the stuff that's released now on the modern consoles. So some of it's utter crap. For me, one of the things I love doing is I like taking an Xbox or whatever console or computer like this, cleaning it up, repairing it so it looks like this. Here's 3 that I've repaired. Once they're repaired, I like to use them, try them. There's different types of collectors. People who are into retro will either collect the hardware or they'll collect the hardware and every bit of software, and that's great. There's no wrong way of doing this. For me, I haven't got the room to have every console, every computer that I want and every piece of box software, so I collect hardware only and I use SD cards, modern technology to put software on. Now, like I say, each to their own how they do it. There's no wrong way, there's no right way of doing it, but there's many options. And what a lot of people do is they take a spare room in the house, or convert a garage, or a bit like me with the name N.E.R.D attic. I take my attic, convert it into a room, and I've got my little sort of office stroke den stroke retro room upstairs. I do a lot of repairing up there. I do have a room downstairs which is my games room, where I keep all my pristine stuff, but not my computers. My computers are all up in the attic. Everybody's different, like I say. Some people will literally, like this image above, will collect every single Nintendo game for that system and have them in alphabetical order, and it looks phenomenal. But I just haven't got the room for that. I've got about 30 plus systems. I just haven't got the room for all them games, and plus at the end of the day I like to play my games. So I'm just a little bit different at that, but each to their own. Now the other thing is, my friend was saying, why do you want to go back and play these games you've already played? I'll be totally honest with you, in the last 6 months I don't think I've played more than 2 old games. The reason being, not only is retro back to stay and the old hardware is all ticking over, we've got new software companies opening up, like Mutation software and Rusty Pixels, and I mean there's tons of them, there's millions of them. I'm just using these 2 as an example because of the first ones that came into my head. Mutation software are making CD32, brand new CD32 games. Rusty Pixel are developing new games for the Spectrum Next and Spectrum. And also, like in the original day, if you'll say, well, okay, then how do I find out about these companies? You can't go into W.H. Smith's and buy these games. Yeah, well, what did we used to do back in the day? We went out and we bought magazines. Oh, but retro's dead. These computers are 20, 30, 40 years old. They haven't got magazines. Well, that's another thing. They have. But the one thing you can't let go about this community is where there's a will, there's a way. So the guys, I'm not going to mention any names, you can go and find these stuff as you want, but a guy literally bought the rights to use the Crash logo and basically relaunched the magazine. It comes out in, I think it's quarterly, Crash. There's that many, I can't remember what they are. I think it's quarterly. And he's also bought the rights to Zap 64. So there's the Spectrum and the 64 taken care of. And not only do they do old game reviews, but they do modern game reviews. And there's adverts for these companies advertising their new games. It's just like it was back in the day. And the games are brilliant. It's pushing the old technology right to the limit. On some occasions, they even go back and fix problems that were with the original games. Or they'll take an old game that was great but looks a little bit sad, and they'll push it so there's a new version, a new release of it. Just recently, there's a new Amiga magazine, which is monthly, Amiga Addict. I think I'm waiting for the third one to arrive. So it's a monthly issued magazine. So there's probably the three main UK computers taken care of straight away: the Spectrum, the Commodore 64, and the Amiga. Also, there's a magazine called 8-Bit Computing Magazine, and what them do is an all-round of systems. So all the 8-bit, 16-bit systems, and they talk about the new computers that are coming out as well. Talking about new computers, the other thing that if you were saying yourself, I don't want to spend £200, £300, £400 on an Amiga just to play some Amiga games, for instance, I would like new hardware. Well, thanks to FPGA technology, we'll have the launch of the Spectrum Next, which is basically the next generation of Sinclair's ZX Spectrum, running much faster than the original Spectrum could, with much more processing power. It's also got better sound chips in it. It can do things that the Spectrum couldn't even think about doing. So all the games that are coming out are, they're really starting to push what a Spectrum looks like. Some of them you have to literally double check that this is a Spectrum. And the machine that I'm waiting for more than anything else is the Mega 65. This thing's a beast. It's beautiful. It's drop dead. It's made by a German company. It should be coming on for sale hopefully at the end of this year, if not early next year. It's sort of on par with an Amiga, but it can use multiple cores like all the FPGA stuff can. So if you want to play a BBC, if you want to play a Spectrum Next, you can do all that on one machine. You don't have to have 20 machines, you just have the one. Now you may think, well, that's all great and well, but what happens if I wanted to play like arcade games and stuff like that? Well, you can go to emulation, or probably the best thing you can have at the minute is what's called a Mister. And a Mister FPGA is literally a little box full of stuff. I've got one. I'm going to do a build video soon of how to put it together and what's actually in it and what it does. But again, using FPGA, the chips are programmed to literally recreate the original chips that are in the 16 and 8-bit machines. Also, it does awesome cores for the arcades. So basically reprogramming the chips to literally be exactly like the arcade machines. So they're pretty much arcade perfect. It's an awesome piece of kit, but again, it's just another thing to the bow of making things modern and keeping all the retro relevant. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, well, that's great and all that, I've got my collection and all that, but I still miss some of the arcade stuff, and I still miss, you cannot beat playing, I don't know, House of the Dead on a proper arcade machine with a gun. I haven't got enough room to buy an arcade machine, put it in. The retro scene even takes care of that as well. There's a lot of places springing up all over the country, and basically what they are is shops, businesses that have been turned into new arcades. Arcades are back, and they're coming back strongly. Now my local one is called the N.E.R.D Arcade, and what this is a basic, downstairs is a shop where you can buy all your retro stuff, your memorabilia, even some games, and then upstairs they've basically got, I think the last time I looked, about 30 odd arcade machines for you to use. And rather than going in and sticking 50 pence or a pound in or whatever, you pay a set fee for a certain amount of hours, and you can just play to your heart's content. Inside they've got a few arcades downstairs, but as you can see, it's a lot of memorabilia, backpacks and Funko Pops and games, and it's all stuff to do, like little signs and plaques for the games and the consoles. It's just fun just having a look around there, to be fair. But obviously the real magic is when you go upstairs and you've got all the arcades upstairs. And the great thing about these places is it's great to go with some friends, because it just brings back all the days when you used to go down the coast or whatever arcades you went to and you played these games. But also you get to meet people, and it's great just for that. A year and a half ago, my best friend from Australia came over and we went to one of these, and it was just one of the best days I've ever had, of all games and everything. Now, on top of all of this as well, they also do the N.E.R.Ds. It's Northeast Retro Gaming, and this is brilliant. Basically what they do is they rent one of the large leisure centres up here in Gateshead, and they just fill up arcade machines, and again it's a certain amount per ticket, and all the machines are on free play, and you go in and knock your socks off basically. They always seem to have the machines that you just don't see anymore and you haven't seen for years. There's also stalls on there as well, which you can sell your stuff, and there's also people selling games and memorabilia, stuff that's really hard to find, because finding retro memorabilia online is just a nightmare. But this is all about keeping the community and keeping people together and keeping it strong. So anybody who says this is dead is just joking. Have a look at that, man. Look, all them machines, look, all them people playing. It's a full weekend event. I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It might just be Saturday, Sunday, I can't remember now. I'm sure it's not. But when this sells out, that retro is not dead. There's plenty of people wanting to go to these events, and they're just they're fantastic. They really are. They're absolutely fantastic. And they give you the buzz and bring you back all their memories from when you were a kid and you went to these arcades. And it's successful when they've got that own beer. So you can actually have a pint. It's great. It's fantastic. So luckily they've decided to put another one on, and hopefully, fingers crossed, COVID and all that buggers off so we can get back to doing what we love doing. And it's on the 10th of October. I'll definitely be going. It's something to look forward to again, where you can socialise, and it's just brilliant. And there is stuff for charities as well, which is fantastic, and it's helping local businesses. There'll be food on and stuff like that. But even if you're not into all that, and you just have a nice little game room like that one above there, where you say you loved Nintendo when you were a kid, and you've got a couple of Nintendo systems and some games, there's nothing better. And you can still buy new Nintendo games. People are still making new cartridges with new games on, and it's dead easy to get into. You don't have to take, what happens if I buy a console or a computer and it doesn't work? Well, if you want, for instance, this is an example, if you wanted to buy a Commodore 64, you can buy this one. It's on Amazon. It's £100. It's a recreation, full working keyboard, works everything, works off SD card, and comes with so many games installed, but it's dead easy to put more on. You don't have to be a tech nerd or anything like that. You just literally update an SD card and whack it in. Or you can buy something like the SNES Mini. A little bit harder to add games, but it does come with a certain amount of games already installed. And this would just get you, your feet wet and back playing some games that bring back the memories. Probably the best one on the market at the minute for me is the Mega Drive Mini. It's just cute as a button, and it does the job. But I prefer computers to consoles, to be fair. But that's just because when I was a kid at school, consoles really were just not around. Nobody really had a NES. But anyway, the answer to the question, is retro dead? No, it's not. It's stronger than ever. It's going from strength to strength. Guys, thanks very much for listening and listening to me rambling on. There's an end of another video. If you like, please click like, subscribe, tickle the bell so you get notifications. It's really humbling how much support I'm getting off everybody. I've never done this type of thing before, so I am learning as I go. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you for another video very soon. Thanks very much.